All right, so we're going to try this again, round two. On Saturday, we had the awesome privilege just to have a very candid conversation with each other and with these lovely teachers who are here, and they are doing the work on a daily basis. And some of them have been in the classroom for years. As a former teacher myself, I can only say how much of a pleasure it is to have the pleasure of speaking to individuals who are also in the classroom. Being in the classroom over 9 years was the most rewarding experience in my life. So I have a soft place in my heart for teachers, because once a teacher, always a teacher. And I think all the teachers here could actually agree and admit to that. And so we do have some individuals who are here who are, you know what, the crazy thing about it is all of them are my friends. I know each of them in some type of capacity. And some of them I've known longer than others, Dr. Simonet. And and some of them I just met not too long ago. And so before we get started, I'm going to share my page so other people can watch. So I'm going to share. And for those of you who are watching, I think it'd be great for you to share this awesome dialogue that we are about to have with these teachers. For the teachers who are on here, that's from Miss Cassandra, and that's Desiree, Miss Precious. If you all can do me a favor and share your what I just shared, you can share it to your network so they can see it. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. So last week we nominated, we put a call out for teachers. It was Teachers Appreciation Week, and we wanted teachers, individuals to nominate teachers from within the community who are doing some amazing things, knowing that teachers already are doing great things, even in the span in which we're in dealing with COVID-19. A lot of nominations came in, but the selection committee, they selected these individuals, and I'm going to actually turn it over to them, and I'm going to allow them to speak. But let me introduce them first. The first person we have is Miss Precious Simonet. Precious is a teacher at Miami-Dade Senior High School. She was nominated by Abigail Langweiler. And a clip of what she said about Precious was, Precious creates community for her students and lifts them up to realize their potential. Welcome, Precious. The next person we have is Miss Cassandra Holmes. Cassandra, she is a teacher at Eneida M. Hartner Elementary School, and she teaches pre-K. She was, Cassandra, you were nominated by Keandra Smith, and a clip of what she said is, Holmes created school-wide step-away spaces, which encourage students and staff members to step away, also function more effectively and clearly. It's good to have you again, Cassandra, and thank you for what you do. We also have Desiree Benton, who is a teacher at Miramar Senior High School. She was nominated by none other than Ms. Brenda Morrison. And the one thing that stuck out to me with Desiree is not only is Desiree a school teacher, but Desiree is also a nurse. And Brenda pointed that out and said she works as a frontline nurse during COVID on top of teaching at the same time. Desiree is truly a rock star. The next and the last, but certainly not least, is Ms. Toccara Foster. Toccara, she is a teacher at Boulevard Heights in Hollywood. She was nominated by India Lorandos. And one thing that Ms. Lorandos said about Ms. Foster is, it says, Ms. Foster comes to work daily and develop creative concepts and deliveries to teach her students while adhering to the mandated guidelines. Ms. Foster's students are still her students, even when they pass to the next grade. She clearly loves what she does, which is why she is more than deserving of this recognition. I'm so happy to have all of y'all here today. And I am looking forward to this conversation. I want to make sure you take yourselves off mute first. Let me unmute all of you all. I think one more. Yeah. All right. So I want to start with you, Precious, and talk to us about your experience in the classroom, and what led you to into teaching?
Well, I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was younger. I love the opportunity of learning something new and being able to share that with everyone. I think I developed a love for writing at a very, very young age because I saw how transformative it could be for the individual as well as the community. I had an opportunity to have some really great educators throughout my years in school, and I think educators were just dope to me, like intelligent. Most of my educators that I had, they had a lot of grace, and that was just something that I really truly admired. I love being a teacher now because I feel that it is revolutionary. It is something to have a student sit in front of you, have a lack of knowledge of self, and you being able to put that student to different experiences, different assignments, and them discovering who they are and what they stand up for, and then building agency into them where they can go out into the world and literally speak their truth and tell their stories. I think that is just like an extraordinary thing for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Precious. Mm-hmm. All right. Desiree.
Yes.
The classroom.
Me. So I feel like my dreams of teaching is something that I had at a young age. I was kind of like the bossy kind of student you would have in your classroom, the one that was like the leader. I wanted to be like a teacher in the classroom, teach my kids, my friends, my peers, read them books. But ultimately it started by having amazing teachers. I am a product of Broward County schools. I went to Riverside Elementary, Deerfield Beach Middle School for their magnet program, and Atlantic Technical Magnet High School. And I had excellent teachers. They made me enjoy learning. They were so passionate about their craft, and I felt like that's something I could do. Let people, around me see that they can be around a teacher that understands what they're going through, that is knowledgeable, and that looks like them. Representation really does matter. So working at Miramar High School, I have an amazing team. I have amazing students, and it feels good that the students can come up to you and say, you know what, I've never had a teacher that was like you before. You do so much. I kind of want to do what you do. So it makes me feel good each day when I go to work. And right now in our virtual world, that they're still texting me, calling me. Yeah. We're on Zoom meetings. We're doing Microsoft Teams, and I can see that it's effective. I see that it matters to our students when they see teachers that understand them, that are also a product of Broward County schools, and that they know that we have excellent schools here in Florida. We work really hard to make sure our students have everything that they need to succeed.
I love it. But the other thing about you is that you're not only just a teacher, but you're a nurse also.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about this. We're coming back to you to talk about this, how you managed to be a teacher and be a nurse at the same time. Frontline worker on both ends. All right. Cassandra.
Hi, so happy to be here amongst you guys again. Well, for me I wanted to be a teacher since I was smaller. My parents always talk about how I used to play school with my sister and the kids in the neighborhood and everything like that. And like I shared before, it was like April of my 12th grade year, I decided that I wanted to go to college, because at first I was like, they got 12 years out of me, that's it, right? So I'm here in April, I'm doing my 12th grade year, and I decided, yes, I'm going to go to college and I want to teach and things like that. And it had a lot to do with my 5th grade teacher, Miss White. She used to always have slogans in her classroom. You're going to miss the boat if you don't swim the shore. You're going to swim the shore, and all of these things. And that just kind of inspired me. And I wanted to, everything that I learned and know, I wanted to bring it back and give it to the communities in which I grew up in. And I want the kids to have and know everything that I know. So being a teacher is a blessing to me. Like I shared, this is my first year in pre-K of 25 years of teaching. I never taught pre-K before. At first, I was kicking and screaming. I did not want to be with 4-year-olds, but they are the best part of me this year. And I love everything that I'm doing. I love the challenge. And my reward is in the students, seeing them in August and then seeing them now. I'm like, wow, I had a part of that. So again, just thank you for allowing me to be here today.
No, thank you so much. Last but not least, Ms. Foster.
Good afternoon. So similar to the other educators on here, I developed a passion to become a teacher at a very young age. similarly to them, again, had some wonderful teachers throughout my educational journey. It was actually in 11th grade is where I really desired to become a teacher, because I was inspired by a teacher, Miss Sandra Davis at Hollandale High School. At that time, I was going through a very traumatic time. I was the talk of the town, the talk of the school, because I was a teenager. So she instilled in me hope. She instilled in me courage. I was brave enough to continue to go to school. I actually graduated early and got out of school early, did what I had to do as a single mom. But at that time, with me going through so much, she was that push that I needed to become who I am today. So I thank her, and I thank you ladies for being here with me.
All right, this is great. All right, so let's get into some questions. Let's start at the top. What we're dealing with right now. How are you all managing?
Woo! I guess I could start. COVID in the classroom and COVID in my house. COVID is a talk of the town. And honestly, I have a rule in my house. We're not allowed to turn on the news. I am the news. Oh. I'm trying to regulate some of the anxiety that my nieces and nephews are feeling with COVID. I help take care of my nieces and nephews. They are all students in Broward County schools, and the unknown for them is scary. And they know when they see mommy and daddy and auntie go to work, because we all work in healthcare, that they're afraid. So I noticed that when the news is on, it's like all mouths are quiet when it's in the house. So I try to limit that as much as possible. But I do feel like, in South Florida, we do have a lot of families that are very blended. And with this going on right now, families are definitely working together that I've seen in my classrooms. I know that when I've been reaching out to some of my students, I'm getting hold of grandma, auntie, big sister. Everyone is doing like team teaching. It's been complete teamwork. Using Canvas is something I've always loved to use. I've been using it for the past 5 years in my classroom. And I feel like it's very effective if it's used with caution with certain populations. But I honestly feel like I'm surprised a little bit, not too surprised, but some of the students did rise to the occasion. Unfortunately, we do have some kids that fall through the cracks, but I will say that most of the students have risen to the occasion. They are logging in at least daily, weekly. They're doing their live sessions. And now that we've been in this process for about 2 months now, teachers are starting to get into the groove of it. If they weren't comfortable before, they're comfortable now. They found a way to either monitor or limit how much work they're giving the students as well. Some teachers initially were giving, 3-4 assignments every day. Yeah. But you don't even see your kids that often. Right. And then some teachers have found a way to, be a little bit more lenient for students that have different circumstances. I teach at a high school, so some of my students have to work. They have now taken up responsibilities to help with their families because their parents aren't working or someone was laid off. So being flexible and being lenient and listening to your kids, because I've had a few conversations this morning with parents, tears on the phone, because their kids have not experienced something like this before. Our generation has gone through a lot of stuff, but these kids have never experienced this before. So just being a listening ear for their parents, offering resources, telling them that there's things that they can do. If you need food, let me know. I can send you where all the food banks are. If you feel like you might be sick, if you need something, let me know, because oftentimes there's pride that comes with our community and they're afraid to ask for help. So just being that resource all around has been very rewarding.
As for me with COVID, when this situation first occurred, my first thought was relationship. And I like to build relationship with my students and my parents. I've been doing that for 25 years. And I have pre-K. And they're used to seeing myself and my paraprofessional, Miss Leslie. They see us every day. And the first thing I said was, oh my God, they're not going to see us every day in that way. So what can I do? And I immediately said, I have to get with my parents. I have to Skype with my kids. And I started putting things in action. And I started encouraging parents. It was already good. That relationship was already there. So my parents they trust me and stuff like that. But I wanted my students to know that I was still a safe haven for them. Right. Even in this time, if we was not meeting in the classrooms, we were going to meet in these little boxes, on the computer. and
Right.
stuff. And also like during my spring break, using the CDC guidelines, I did home visits to my pre-K students because I wanted to assure them that everything was going to be okay.
Right.
And I can agree with Desiree with the news at my house and with my son and my granddaughters. Oh my God, they're on it. When the news come on, they're like, shh, because they want to hear what's going on. I'm like, no, we're gonna do something a little different. I'm still using precautions, but with this here, I'm glad that teachers are feeling more comfortable. We do have some students, I know in the environment I work in, we have a lot of our students, they live in the shelters. We have like at least 75 to 80% of our population are shelter kids. We live around shelters. So a lot of them don't have devices. And if they do have devices, shelters have guidelines. So
Right.
they can't use their devices as a child that's not in the shelter can use their devices. So, you have to make another way for those parents and work with those parents. And I know Desiree have high school kids, and so does Precious, and many of them do work, but many of them are taking care of their smaller siblings while their parents are working.
Yeah.
So not only are they're home trying to do their work, they're taking care of their little kids because many parents are essential workers. They are still working. So we all have to take that in consideration as well. And as far as my program with the mindfulness and stepping away, I started that because many of you know I lost my husband 2 years ago, and I started doing this mindfulness to help me and my family. And I started doing it with my coworkers, and then I wanted to do it for my kids. So even now, every Friday, I try to send my coworkers something for them to unplug, something encouraging, reminding them to breathe, reminding them to, do nothing for 30 seconds, and stuff like that. And we do the same with the kids because the kids are little adults. They are going through the same struggles many of us are going through, but they probably just don't know how to express it,
Right.
as much as we do. So that's
let me ask you all a question along those same lines. I'll start with you, Precious. And thank you for sharing that, Cassandra. Child trauma.
Yeah.
I know when I was a teacher, that child that walked into my level 1 class, their issues at 7:30 in the morning, their issues was not what was my start time on the board. I had to deal with some real stuff, what they were dealing with at home.
Absolutely.
Even get into the lesson.
Absolutely.
Us about the trauma of kids and you having to nurture that as before you can even start teaching.
Well, so like I teach creative writing, all different types of writing. And one thing I've learned is if I want my students to improve quantitatively, like test scores, I have to be willing to accept the qualitative aspect of it. I always tell like some of my coworkers, like once you open the kid's heart, you can't close it back. Teaching creative writing can be extremely traumatic for me personally because I take a lot of that stuff home. People just don't understand the mental capacity and the emotional strain it takes to be an educator. So like with Cassandra mentioning about mindfulness, I started mindfulness because of myself. Like I needed it and I wanted to equip myself with something where I was able to further help my students. After introducing mindfulness to my kids, it definitely works. I think that I have used this time, although this is like a crazy time for everyone, it has been a struggle for many people to find the silver lining in it. For me, I found a silver lining because this gave me the opportunity to elevate my student voices. Many times we're hearing leaders talk about COVID, we're hearing adults talk about COVID. Very rarely am I hearing students talk about COVID. So immediately my mind transitioned to like, okay, yeah, my babies have something to say. Let me help them to elevate their stories and elevate their voices. So I've been using it. Writing is therapeutic. Although writing is extremely academic, it is a skill needed by many people. It is also extremely, extremely therapeutic. And I'm really happy that I've had the opportunity of having journals in my class. So my kids are literally riding the wavelength with it. Right now, they are finishing up their COVID responses poems. And I can tell you, I literally posted it on Sunday night. By Monday morning, my email was flooded. Like they had something to say. It was like they were waiting for someone to ask them, well, how do you feel about this? What do you have to say about it? So I think me being able to give those types of lessons to them where they are therapeutic with writing, but also helping them with their skills is definitely helping them to cope with what's going on. I also want to take this opportunity for people to realize that specific content areas of classes are important. Like you have your math, you have your reading, you have all those things are important. But I need people to understand that visual and performing arts teachers are just as, if not even more important. Students come to school for the arts. It is the arts that help them to cope with all of the things that's happening in the world. When a student isn't able to read as effectively as we want them to, they could draw what they are feeling and what they are experiencing. They could write it as well. So I really need people to understand when it comes to like creative writing teachers, which is not one, spoken word matters, poetry matters, creative writing matters, art matters, drama matters. All of these visual and performing arts courses, these teachers, they have to teach skill, but they also have to teach everything that comes along with it. So I just think it's very important for us to keep those teachers in mind as well.
Toccara, thank you. That's actually that's very profound what you just said. I'm just keep going, Toccara. Yes.
So,
and you want to get y'all have some friends on here just to let y'all know. Some of y'all friends. So Ms. Lisa says to Toccara Foster, she is so proud of you. She loves your mother. Marsha Eloy for Cassandra, she said, "Hey Cass, that's your covenant sister." Y'all got friends on here, so y'all don't let them down, y'all. Go ahead, Toccara.
Okay, so during this COVID-19, it has allowed me to get a closer relationship with my parents and my students. Of course, we're using Canvas to instruct our students, and I have daily discussions with my students. So during the daily discussion questions, I kind of get a little personal.
Yeah.
I start inputting real life pictures of me and my family or me and my friends or whatever the discussion is. So this COVID-19 kind of brought me a little more closer to my students and my parents and bond that relationship. We are communicating more through different communication apps. We also do the Microsoft Teams where they're able to see each other. They're so happy because they're 3, 4, and 5 year olds. So at this age, it's a different way of teaching.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to face-to-face formal relationships. And at that age, they're really focused on developmental. They're not really pinpointing the academics, but I implement the academics in my classroom. So we're still doing academics, and we're also still doing the developmental domains that's required, on the IEP. So this is definitely a different way of teaching for my students. I teach in a Title I school, so there's a lot of diversity. We have low-income families that does not have the technology needed for this online learning. So I actually had one student that doesn't have any devices that the school provided. So I personally printed out a whole bunch of activities for her, and I actually put her a house for her to, still get that educational aspect of, this educational system that we have going on right now. Her mother was very grateful, very appreciative, because it's not my student's fault that she's in the situation that she's in. So why does she have to pay for a situation that she's in? So, it's kind of heartfelt, because every student is different. Every student comes from a different background. So we have to be considerate, and we have to be passionate about what we're doing and who we're affecting, because not only are we affecting these students, we're affecting their parents and their families as well.
Absolutely.
So we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to go into something because Toccara, you just made mention of something that's so true, at least into the word mentorship. And a lot of people think mentorship is only in high school. Those babies in pre-K, they teachers also. And Precious, for a fact, you have a mentor, Felicia Brunson.
Yes, bomb.com.
As your peoples. And how important is us ensuring that we teach the kids and we know when we need to transition and I need to be their mentor at this point? Is it always? Is it that particular child? Like, yeah. How does that look? We have about 10 minutes left. I got 2 more questions.
So I think mentorship is very important. And I think I can take this because I have had mentors since I've been in middle school. And one thing about mentorship is not the fact of you buying this and that's it, or helping a student with this college essay and then this it. Mentorship is a serious thing, and it is holistic, right? And before you are willing to be a mentor to anyone, you have to make sure that you have all of your checks and balances as well. It takes a lot to be a mentor. And I believe that mentors believe in building leaders because they understand that it doesn't stop with them. Mentors believe in building agency. And mentors believe in being extremely honest, and they push you just enough. And even if you end up falling, they're there to catch you up and push you back up and be like, okay, let's keep it going. I am going to briefly speak about my mentor, Felicia Brunson. She was honest with me when I needed it. And that was all the time, with love, completely honest. And I think her honesty definitely helped me to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be. She was the one that literally sat down and taught me the importance of community involvement. You have to understand that mentors are just not in one specific place. Like knowing how to understand when someone is giving you feedback, you have to be willing to take it. But I also realized that my mentor had a mentor as well. And it's not something it's just not for 1 year. My mentor has been in my life my entire life. That is what mentorship looks like. She knew when I traveled abroad, she knew I was on my way there because of that communication, because of that relationship that was there. So mentorship is a very serious thing. I know that we have a lot of people that says they have like mentor programs and that's my mentee and whatever the case it is, but you have to take that extremely serious. And many of the times, and I hate to say it, it's just something for you to say. You're not truly mentoring kids, especially if you're not telling them the truth.
Hey, come on here and preach. So let me veer off. We have about 8 minutes left. So let me talk about something that that we don't talk about enough, and that is the appreciation of teachers. Now again, 9 years in, I ran for office because I didn't like how teachers were being. Brief story. Every year, we, as you all know, you come and we have the welcome in the library, you get the breakfast, the new rules from the state. And one day, one year, I walked in and the rules had done changed again. I'm like, we're changing the rules. Y'all just told us we got to put stuff on the board this year. Last year, you said we had to do this. This year, don't put stuff on the board. Who's making the rules? So they're like, oh, it's your elected officials. Perfect. I'm about to run for that. So I think it's important for us to talk through how teachers are not appreciated, because I used to sit on education committee, but they took me off education committee because I was calling them to the carpet. But talk to us on how teachers are not appreciated, but yet still they require so much of us. I'm gonna start at the top. I'll start with you, Toccara, and I'll work around.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know that pre-K teachers are not, in the definition according to the legislature, are not classified as
That's right.
But yet pre-K teachers have to do the same exact thing as teachers that teach kindergarten through 12th grade. And I don't think it's fair. I had to do the same schooling, pay the same $200 for each certification. Each certification, mind you, I have birth through 4, K through 6, reading endorsed, TESOL endorsed, and ESC.
Wow.
And I'm a pre-K teacher, and I'm not, looked at as a pre-K teacher, but we're still gonna push through, because to me, it's not about the money. It's not about what they think that we aren't, because I know what I am, and I know how I impact my students and my family. So we're gonna pray on that. So we're gonna pray on that. So I just lost my train of thought. So
it's all right.
Put the respect on your name. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, period. Yes.
Teacher appreciation. Okay, teacher appreciation. I'll come back. Okay, so during this COVID-19, the parents are really getting to the point where, okay, I miss my child's teacher. I get that every day. Every week I'm getting, so-and-so misses you. So it's like now they're filling in our shoes and they see what we have to go through in the classroom.
Right.
At the pre-K level, we're setting the foundations for the upper level. So they come in as babies, but I don't classify them as babies. So they're coming in, potty training, feeding, fine motor skills, emotional detachment. Like some of these students come in, and my students are students with disability, all 12 students with disability. So I have a handful of responsibilities as a teacher. I'm mommy, I'm daddy, I'm nurse, CPR, I'm everything. So it's like, I hope now that parents can see exactly what we go through and how we help their child and help them. Because my parents may think that I'm hard on them, but I'm only pushing them so they can be great when they leave.
Yes.
I love it.
Because they see that, okay, that's my baby. That's my baby.
Yeah.
I get it. That is your baby, but that's my baby too.
Right.
So it's like I'm instilling those skills in the parents as well, because when they leave me and they go to the next grade, I always tell them they're not going to have me. They're not going to have me, and they're not going to have my parents. So you have to teach them those independency skills now.
That's right.
Like you have to teach that now, because that affects Precious' grade, Desiree's grade,
Right.
everything that you're setting now in pre-K.
Yeah.
Affect them when they get older. So
It's
matter.
definitely matriculation. I used to always tell my parents, "Hey, listen, this it's shared parenting here.
Yeah.
Listen,
It's not just
parent,
me. It takes the village. Everybody's involved in
You
it.
a home parent. I'm a school
Definitely.
parent. So we got to work this out. We got custody here. So my parents, I tell my parents that all it is, and that's just what it is. I mean, we build that rapport with our parents, and when we talk about the appreciation of how teachers are appreciated in the state, the biggest issue is how long we've had to wait. You all have had to wait for a teacher pay raise.
Right.
It requires so much more. So I do want to continue this conversation. We have about 7 minutes left. Cassandra, I would love to hear, as far as from the appreciation standpoint, from how you all are treated.
I'll piggyback off of Toccara for a little bit, saying that with pre-K teachers, like it's a lot of things we don't receive the stipend money. We didn't qualify for whether we're the best and brightest, because we're pre-K teachers and things like that. And I can relate to her with my parents, even though they're pre-K, they don't have to do team and all of that. But as a teacher, I wanted them to be ready for kindergarten. So my pre-K, the 4 and 5-year-olds, they are doing team. You know, it started off as a parent homework. I gave my parents homework, and I'm teaching them how to go through it and understand it so they can teach their little kids. But as far as appreciation matters, I'm a teacher parent. So I'm a teacher, and I'm also a parent of an 8th grader, a grandmother of a 2nd grader, and a pre-K. So in my house on Monday morning, it's crazy, because all of us are Zooming, all of us are either Skyping. I'm running over there to help Keith. I'm going to help Harmony. I'm seeing what Joy's doing, and then I'm taking care of my own class as well. And sometimes a lot of my coworkers, when we talk, the biggest thing we talk about is teachers being appreciated. It's not about the money at all, but it's about the respect. Even Teacher Appreciation Week, we don't have, like, a lot of principals. They don't go out for their teachers. You know, come on now. We need to be appreciated, just like we appreciate the kids. How you tell the kids, good job. You know, pat them on the back. You're doing good. You know, all of that. Sometimes as teachers, everybody would like to hear something nice about themselves and stuff, especially, you know, you're putting your heart in it and you're working for the best. And I'd rather take my kids doing making a card for me saying, thank you, I appreciate you. That's so rewarding. But then you have, like, I agree with Toccara, like, parents can see what we actually do. And many parents are saying now, I see what they're talking about. But sometimes you could tell a parent about a child and they be like, not my child, but it is your child, you know? And
introduce you to your child.
Right. I'm in pre-K this year, but I had the privilege of teaching. I had kindergarten last year. I've taught third grade IA class with the retained third graders. I've taught fourth grade. I've taught many of the elementary levels, and I always agree that it's the foundation. Once we build that foundation, we're going to help the next grade level. But even when we get the pre-K students, they're not actually pre-K students. A lot of them are not pre-K ready. So we have to work just as hard to get them ready. But sometimes when you speak to like your administrators and stuff like that, who are not actually in the classroom, sometimes they don't really understand, you know, what you're saying when you're saying, okay, they're not pre-K ready, they're not kindergarten ready. Give me a minute. I'm going to get them ready, but I need a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we work, you know, to get them together and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So let me ask this. I mean, it's crazy how this is all set up because Toccara and Cassandra, you all are pre-K and Desiree, y'all in high school. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it really takes God Himself to pre-K. I'm telling y'all, through high school, my 11th and 12th graders, we were good. I was good with that, right? So, but I want to talk to Precious and Desiree about something that I know is serious. Mm-hmm. That moment you cried in your classroom because a student either shared something with you and you had to take the teacher hat off and you really had to become a real human being.
Yeah, so like I said, I look at vulnerability as a strength. And my kids and I'm very fortunate to be one of the teachers that loops with her kids. So my kids and I, we develop a really great relationship. Like my kids know them and they know me. And I can only be one way. I'm transparent. I'm very honest with love with my students. And I could just tell you one thing that happened earlier this year. I got a call from one of my friends saying that they wanted to give one of my students $10,000. So I know how my kids are. This is like for scholarship money. And I know how some of my students are. Some of them, they're go-getters, they're determined or whatever. Others, they need to be like motivated. Like they're different levels. But I wanted them to want to do this essay for the sheer innate desire to just want to be better. Like I didn't want to have to like dangle something in front of you to want to do it, right? Many of them, they bombed it. And I was very, very upset to the point where I went into class and I have those moments like, what is going on? Like what happened? And I'm literally crying in front of the class, right? They're used to it. Most of them, they'll just put their heads down. They're like, Muslim, like, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. We got to do better because you never know when an opportunity is going to come in front of you. And I think that's one thing that gets me the most, what makes me extremely vulnerable in front of my students when I see them allowing the opportunity to pass by because they know the things that are stacked up against them. And I get it, but I'm standing right here in front of you. I'm an example of what resilience looks like. It's representation. It's if you have any doubts in your head that you can't do anything, you need to look at me. Better yet, you need to use me for everything I've got to make sure that I can build you up. That gets me extremely vulnerable. It gets me in my feelings. My kids know I don't tolerate certain things like that. I just quickly wanted to add on when you guys are talking about Teacher Appreciation Week, I completely agree with Cassandra when you were talking about the respect. That's one of the most important things. I think everybody wants to be respected for their work. And when people realize that you want to look at teachers as like the hearts of like things, they are like the lighthouses and things. Teachers know so many different things. They have so many connections. The world needs to truly understand that you want to collaborate with teachers, not compete with them.
Yeah.
Right? You want to collaborate with us. Yes. Understand that we want the world.
That is good.
We literally want the world to be a better place. I assure you. Yes. And if you don't have any other proof, look at what we're paid every year and we stay. If you ever want to figure out where a teacher's heart is, look at what they're doing. Many teachers allow several opportunities to go by to even make more money because they care about what they're doing. They love the work. They love their kids. They love the communities. And they truly want to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So learn how to collaborate with teachers and not compete. Understand that we're here for all of the right reasons. We just literally want respect for the work that we do every single day.
Oh my God. I want to talk about so much. Wait, Wait, Precious, standing ovation. I wish this was like a radio where you could just have the gee whiz. We'll clap for you, sis. We got you. Yes.
In addition to the ones that take on different school clubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's volunteer work.
But even the clubs that you don't even get paid for.
listen.
Because if you see something that needs to be done, listen, you know
We
what?
do
I'll
it.
make one for the team. Let me go ahead and
You
do
know,
that.
we do it, right?
It's okay.
So listen, I got to get to Desiree because so we got all these people who watching. So while y'all watching, I want to understand something about Desiree. Not only is Desiree a teacher, Desiree is also a nurse.
Nurse.
Now, Desiree, before I ask you this question, are you nursing and teaching?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. Amazing.
Oh my God. Okay. So y'all please show Desiree some love. Please, y'all. Yo, Desiree, so you're a nurse and a teacher.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What time is it? We have a few minutes. Go ahead.
I can make it quick. I guess the best way I can say it, my niece is trying to be all in this video. Go over there. The best way I can explain it to you is I've always had a passion for teaching, and I've always been in the health profession. So I went to Atlantic Technical Magnet High School, where I was able to be provided with the opportunity to become a nurse while I was in high school. And in that realm of being young and dumb, I utilized a lot of my opportunities, but I didn't technically let it manifest the way how it should have. So when I went to college, I was able to do both. I was teaching on the side. I would, work as a nurse as well as like a CNA and stuff at different facilities. Now I work at the most amazing high school ever, Miramar High School. And when I was living in New York, I have to put in that plug there. When I was living in New York, Miss Hoff actually recruited me from the school board of Broward County. And when Miss Hoff recruited me, she said, "Hey girl, there's an amazing school with an amazing principal. I know you're living in New York. Let's see what we could do right now." I interviewed, flew down, interviewed at Miramar High School, and they said, come back home. So I was very fortunate and very blessed to have a principal, Miss Formoso, that definitely encouraged me.
Yes.
The sky's the limit. She let me know the sky's the limit. And if you really want to do something, you can do it. And I've always heard about people, managing multiple jobs and how much it takes a toll and how you do it. And quite frankly, most teachers are managing 2 and 3 jobs.
Yes.
It just is what it is.
Yes.
So I was blessed to have a principal that said, listen, if that's what you want to do, there's a way to do everything it is that you want to do. And that's basically what I teach my students as well. I tell them, a lot of you guys are living a life that I've lived. I lived in a single family household. My mom had to work 2 and 3 jobs to make sure that we were taken care of. I was a latchkey child. I had to make sure my sister got to school. I had to make sure her homework was done. And I had 2 jobs in high school. You're not telling me a narrative that I haven't heard before. Right. But I let my students know through seeing me, representation matters as a Black under 30, multiple degrees. I let them know that anything is possible. Yeah. If you want to be a doctor, then you got to work for it. If you want to be an engineer, work for it. If you want to, wash cars and make that your building, your business, wash the best cars ever. Make sure it shines so that people tell people about it. Whatever you do it well and do it with passion. If you don't like what you're doing, you're going to be miserable every single day. And because I like what I do, I love nursing. I've been, from a CNA to an RN to, master's prepared. I love what I do as a nurse, and I love what I do as a teacher. I've been at the school board since the school year, 2015, 2016, almost 5 years now. I love what I do, and that's what gives me my energy. I walk into my classroom still in my scrubs. My students say, "Oh, Miss B, you worked last night?" "Yep." But guess what? We gonna do this together, and they give me that energy. It's so exciting. I literally overflow with excitement because I let my students know, like, listen, be held accountable. They're in high school. What you do is important. Like the way how you carry yourself, those connections you make. Yeah. I let them know, listen, find a mentor. I mentor kids, and quite frankly, some of my students that have graduated, they're still calling me and texting me now, especially during COVID.
Because it's a forever relationship.
Relationship is everything. They find you on Facebook. They find you. Students want to know you. They want to feel like they're involved in a part of your life.
I think one of your students found you, Miss Banton, best role model.
It's the truth. They want to feel like they're a part of your lives. The students,
Yeah.
the best thing I can tell teachers is just make the time. I
Mhm.
find the time, you know, you make time for things that you want to make time for, things that you
Yeah.
care about. I make it to the basketball games,
Mhm.
the football
Yes.
games.
Yeah.
I sit there and cheer them on. I tell the
Yeah.
kids, hey, you know, go to a game. I'll slide you some extra
Yeah.
credit. Come on. Like
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to make them feel like they're important because
Yeah.
That's
like,
right.
they may not feel it at home.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't. And you know, like what all of our teachers said,
Yeah.
yes, we want to feel appreciated.
Mhm.
We want to feel respect. And I know I get that from my staff. I get that from my principals and my administrators, but I want to feel that from the parents and the students.
Mhm.
Because quite frankly, if they don't respect you and if they don't care, then it's
Mhm.
not going to change. You're not going to see that change in your
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
We don't do it for the money. We do it because we love it. Because, you know, we
Right.
can get fired
Yeah.
up saying, you know,
Yeah.
I know I'm
But-
helping someone. And then out of my 200 and something kids, even if only one really gets
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
they got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it. And they come back to you and they let you know they
They'll
got
let
it.
you know.
It's good when they
listen.
come back and they
Oh,
say,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
Miss B, I understood what
Mhm.
you said. I got to college. Same
Mhm.
thing you told me in biology, the same thing you told me in anatomy and
Yeah.
physiology, the same thing I learned in college.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
already knew it. It makes you
Yeah.
feel good.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, it
It
does.
does.
Mhm.
So we have 5 minutes left. I want to give each of you all 1 minute, and then I'll close out in 1 minute. So we have 5 minutes left. And I'm gonna give you 1 minute, and I usually ask for people to give who come on to give a hope message.
Mhm.
Period, just a blanket message. But you all are teachers, so I'm going to add on to yours. I want you to give a hope message to students, to parents, to your colleagues, and then I want you to give a hope message to everybody.
I guess I'll start.
Take it.
All right. So you are looking at a statistic. I was a girl who was pregnant at 16. Thank God for my teacher that gave me an encouragement to keep going. I was the talk of the town. I'm a survivor. So
Mhm.
basically, I use that everything that I went through as a motivation to push me to keep going. I never stopped. I went to school on my due date. Luckily, I had them during Christmas break, but I went to school faithfully. I was always a good kid. I was always a smart kid. I always was on the honor roll. But I always was a leader. I never followed the crowd. Never. You didn't see me at the football games. You didn't see me at the basketball games. You saw me home. So being a statistic at the age of 16, I pushed my way. Kept going to school, did what I had to do, had the baby. My son is actually in college now. He attends Bethune-Cookman University.
Wow, look at that.
Last year, yesterday, I graduated with my master's. I'm in school now at Florida Memorial. Pursuing an
Hey.
educational specialist degree. I had a lot of naysayers. I had a lot of negativity throughout my life, but I use that as motivation to keep me going. So you are looking at a very success story. I am proud of where I am. I am proud of my support system. There were people in my family around me that had so much to say, but with God and his favor, I proved them wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
My advice to anybody that wants to pursue something, keep going. Don't stop. Don't listen to what people have to say. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Trust God. Believe that you can make a difference, because whether we know it or not, we can make a difference in somebody's life.
Right.
Whether it's by being there, listening ear, giving them a hug, or whatever it is. Don't let people deter you from what God has for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So if you are a believer, so just allow God to work. Allow God
Yes.
to touch other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be
Thank
my
you.
message. Don't stop. Like I always
Thank
tell my son, our motto is, I'm getting emotional. Me and my son motto is, don't settle, be great.
Yes.
So so I'm pushing him. He texted me this morning like, okay, now you need doctor or assistant principal behind your name. I was like, okay.
Yeah. You got it. I like that.
Thank you.
All right. What I got, Mrs. Cassandra, 1 minute. Give us that hope message for your students, the parents, your colleagues, and a general message.
I just want to say first, of all, I want to thank my parents, Mary and Nathaniel, 75 and 76 years old. I am here because of them. My parents did not go to college. I was the first one able to attend college and university. And because of them, the sacrifices my parents made, especially my mom made for me, is the reason why I'm here. My siblings and my family, I'm a family person, and we believe in family, we believe in God. I was a single parent, and then I was married. Now I'm a widower. My husband passed away, and I'm a single parent again, but I am doing it with everything that I need to do. And that's because of so many, there's such a support system and building relationships and stuff like that. So my hope message would be, don't give up, push, because we're gonna have challenges. But they say, whatever doesn't kill you will only make you stronger. A lot of people say that. So I believe in that, and I feel like I'm a representative. I've been there. I've been the single parent. I've been the married person who had it all, and now I'm here, again in this situation. So I try to lead by example, and I always say my word, it's my word. If I say I'm going to do it, if I say I'm going to be there, whatever I say, I try to do, and to lead by example. So be nice to your parents and love on them, those that still have parents, because a lot of people, they don't have their parents. I'm thankful to have my parents, and my children. I want to say thank you to my son and my daughter, because I know my daughter is 28. She had to share me. When it was open house, I had to go to work for open house, and I miss her open house. So a lot of things, being a parent, your kids, they have to come with you, and they're like assistant teachers, because they have to go to open house. Anything your school is doing, they have to be a part of. So they share, they share their time with my students. They share me with students. So I wanted to say thank you to my family, my siblings, and my support system. I don't want to start naming because I don't want to leave anybody out. And I want to say thank you, Shevrin, for all that you do for us, and for even taking this moment to appreciate us. To me, I'm so grateful that you even took out of your time, which you always do, to acknowledge and appreciate teachers. And that right there, this is the biggest thing for me today, that you would take out of your time to just appreciate little old me. And to say thank you for what I love doing. I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cassandra. I appreciate you. Thank you. I really do. Desiree.
Yes. So
give us that 1 minute message.
1 minute. All righty. So like what Ms. Cassandra said, I'll say the same thing with my parents. So the same message goes to my students, my parents, my colleagues, and everyone. My parents were first generation Americans, and my mom, I will never forget, my first few weeks at Atlanta Technical High School, my mom told my teachers that I was her investment. And that's the same thing I have to say to my students, my parents, my colleagues. Think of your children as your investment. Students, think of yourself as investing in yourself. Everything you're doing is not done in vain. It may be hard now, but I promise you the obstacles are worth it, because at the end, the fruits of your labor, it doesn't feel the same if it came to you easy. When you work hard for something, it feels so much better. Okay, all those things that you had to work hard for right now, going through COVID, it may seem a little meek and it seems a little scary, and the unknown is scary, but invest in yourself. Everything you do is worth it. Invest in your children. My parents invest in your children. If you keep it in the back of your brain that your children are your investment, everything you do is going to be worth it. And that's what I have to say. I'll close with that, because that's what my mom instilled in me. And I feel like I still have her work ethic, the crazy Caribbean parents that we all know too well. I was her investment. She came to America for us, and I appreciate her for that.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Des.
Awesome.
Precious, take us home.
So I'm going to simply say, life is not waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Nothing in life exists without its opposite. And although things may get extremely difficult, we got to continue to dance. We got to continue to move. We may not know the steps, but we find out as we go along the way. I honestly don't know where I would be right now had it not been for my grandmother, my mom, my mentor, Miss Felicia, Chev. I mean, people who are in my life have been in my life forever. I'm a lover. Like when I say I love you, I absolutely positively mean it. And
Yes.
I'm extremely loyal. And that's something that I absolutely love about myself. I love the fact of my words and my actions being consistent. And that's something that I learned from my mom. My mom said, listen, if you're not going to be consistent with it, don't say it. Your word is your bond. And I just want everyone to understand things may be difficult, but learn how to dance in the rain. Learn how to dance. And if you don't know the steps, ask somebody else and you guys can do it together. I promise you it will get better. I've had a lot of obstacles in my life, but one thing my mom taught me, you better keep moving. You need to keep dancing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So let me tell you all,
Awesome.
you don't understand how happy I am just to be able to have had this conversation with you all. Congratulations again to all of you for the work.
Jeff, can we congratulate you?
Yes.
Can we just
Yes.
literally take this time to congratulate you? Like I told you, one thing I absolutely love about you is your authenticity. Even though you left the classroom, Chev, you didn't forget about teachers. Like I said, you're always reaching back with the hand and pulling somebody forward.
Yes.
And I absolutely love you for that. That's why when you text me,
That's
when
right.
you call me, I'm gonna be there. I'm coming, right? Because you are truly love, and I absolutely love how you just wear your heart on your sleeve. Like you are one of those examples that vulnerability is strength. If
You don't do this to me, don't do this.
You feel it, and I absolutely love it because you are you. You give us the opportunity.
Yes.
You give us the permission to be who we are.
I agree. Yes,
And I absolutely love you for that. I absolutely love you for that. And just think about it. Who introduced me to you? My mentor.
Your mentor.
Felicia. Okay.
She did.
So
Oh man.
congratulating you. We love you, and I thank you so much for this. This is
I really do. I love you all. And listen, once a teacher, always a teacher. And
Yes.
my 8 years in the house has been a pleasure fighting for teachers. And if the Lord allowed me to go further, he will. He will. It won't change. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for what y'all do. And anything I can ever do, please know that I'm there for you. And for all the other individual teachers who were nominated, over 65 teachers were nominated. You not being on here does not mean that you're not made.
right. Absolutely.
It means that you're not recognized at all. First of all, I mean, it could be an entire Zoom conversation with 65 of us. But
you should set that up. That would be dope.
I think it would be dope to do a teacher town hall meeting. I think it would be good. And I think we're going to do a teacher town hall. I think it would be great. But you do have great representatives here today. Thank you all for what you all do. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of great things from all of you. Love you and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.